Hey guys, it's Kelly. Mari and I are back today with another Scrap the Challenge layout. We decided to continue to use our stash kit, so this will be the fifth layout that we have created with the stash kit. And we are going to also be doing some mixed media. I went ahead and further challenged myself to pull out the more masculine items that I had in my kit to see what I could use and to document a layout or make a layout about my son documenting his new haircut. So I went through the kit before I even started and pulled out things that were on the more masculine side. I'm not sure if you remember as much about my kit, but a lot of it had some soft pink, coral, salmon colors. There, some little bit of yellow, just traditionally more feminine colors, but there were some punches of craft and there was a couple of black things as well. So what I did was just started to pull some things aside, and for the most part, most of the papers will be coming from the 6x6 paper pad from Notes and Things. So you saw me fussing with that tissue paper for quite a bit. It was not a big enough piece to where I could have folded it over, and I wanted just to have a little bit of texture behind it. So it was just me trying to get the most out of it that I could. And what I'm going to be doing for the next couple minutes is just playing around with the different papers, seeing which ones I wanted to use and layering them behind the photo. Now, I will tell you, I had no idea where this layout was going. Like I said, the only thing that I knew is that I wanted to make a masculine layout and then use mixed media because that was what we had put as our challenge. And I really struggled at the beginning of this layout. And I'm not sure if it was the color choice. I'm not sure. But I will say this. I am so happy that I persevered with this because it has actually become one of my more favorite layouts of recent because it is so different from things that I would normally do. So these paper scraps, some of these I do have the full 6x6 sheet, but I was just trying to see if I could make these little bits and pieces work before I tossed them. And so, you know, if it did work, great. If it didn't, I was just going to toss it at the end of, you know, this project, just because it's not like I still don't have plenty left. And what I'm trying to do is only make sure that the scraps of paper that I keep are ones that either A, I know I will use, or B, that I absolutely love. So this was a Project Life card from the Notes and Things collection that I had pulled from the stash, and I didn't want there to be a lot of rounded edges or rounded corners. I left the gold outline 3x4 card with rounded edges just because the gold was kind of rounded as well, and I knew that it would mess up the whole, you know, look of the layer if I cut those corners straight. So I just cut the text print because it wasn't going to mess anything up, just so that most of my layers would have straight edges, maybe with some, you know, paper tearing just for a different texture, and just have that one with the rounded edges. So at this point, I decided that I'm going to further narrow down some of the things that I had already pulled aside, and I decided that I did not want to use that mint/aqua color anymore, and that I just thought that I was going to have the layout, you know, have the craft, the black and white, and maybe a little bit of that gray tone and a little bit of the gold. So I'm just going through the little bits and pieces. Some of these are ephemera from Crate Paper, Maggie Holmes, and I'm not sure, it was one of her last lines. It was not Shine. It may have been open book or confetti. I'm not sure. Anyway, I decided that I did not like the way that it was going to look on white cardstock. It just did not have enough personality. And at that point, I was thinking, oh, what am I doing? I don't really like the way this layout's coming out. So I pulled some pattern papers just to see if that would help. And I went into my stash of my crepe paper and Maggie Holmes, and I pulled out the gray and white polka dot. I had already had the black and white diagonal stripe and the other muted cream and black pattern from the kit, but I just felt like those weren't enough. The diagonal I felt like was too bold. The more muted second paper that I had, I felt like was too bland. And then I liked this paper, and my original thought was I was going to trim the yellow border, but I end up keeping the yellow border because I feel like it does really play up on the gold of the layout. So like I said, this layout I really struggled with trying to get what I wanted and how I wanted the layout to look, especially since I didn't really have a plan. You know, sometimes these layouts I find that when I can go in and just work with what I have and not stick to the plan, it may take me a little bit longer to figure out what I'm doing, but I do like the end results because I let the product speak for itself. So you are going to see me move frames around constantly. I'm going to change the title up into a different font. I'm, trying to make the cork pieces work because those cork carts were also in my stash kit. And the brown letters that you see, those are an Amy Tangerine font. I thought that I was going to use those to help play up on the cork, but I decide that it doesn't do enough for me and that it needs more gold. And you'll see in just a second that I will replace that cork heart with a gold heart. So I did go back in my stash and pull out some washi tape because I thought that that would be another great addition, and I decided to go ahead and get a few more of these layers pinned down. I don't like them to move too much, and so I just put adhesive in the middle of the paper layers so I could tuck things just like I tucked that gold arrow. That gold arrow is going to move though. Like I said, it was me just trying to figure out what on earth I was going to do. I wanted it to be balanced. I didn't want it to be, too feminine. But I think sometimes it's a struggle when you're working with colors that you don't normally work with. And, at this point, I still wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with the mixed media. I, didn't really necessarily want to do more dots because, polka dots with polka dots, I thought might be a little redundant. And I ended up with an Argyle stencil. And you'll see that in just a minute. That stencil came with a Heidi Swap bird stencil. So it was one of those layered stencils, and I had pulled it out. I have not used it, and I thought, well, Argyle kind of goes with the theme of, a new haircut or, looking good, that kind of deal. So that is what I am going to eventually do. So I decided I needed one more layer for underneath where I wanted my mixed media to go. And so that neutral gray paper just helped provide a little bit more balance and brought a little bit, maybe more of like a shelf, or I'm not quite sure, but I felt like the paper cluster underneath the photo really worked when I added that in. So I decided to go bold. I have never in my life stenciled black, and it's so unlike me. And what I did is I have this black gesso from Dina Wakley that was bought by mistake, and I have kept it and just not used it. But I used it on this layout, particularly because I didn't want to prime the page with anything. I didn't want to see any of the gesso, and I thought that that would help reduce the buckling. So while I was waiting for that to dry, I did stitch around the layout as a little bit of a frame with the black stitching. And at this point, when I put the paper layers back on with the photo over top of the stenciling, I was thrilled with the way that this was coming together. This was so much more than I had even imagined. And it, you know, I think, like I said before, one of the reasons why that I love it is because it is so different from what I would normally do. Just stretching my creative wings. So I'm just going to try to figure out where I can place a couple more of the layers. I really like the washi with the torn look. You know, I was trying to figure out if I was going to put the title below the photo or in that upper left-hand corner, and it will eventually reside below the photo. Now, there are a couple of things that I did after I had finished recording. I actually walked away from the layout for a while and, you know, had to do house chores and stuff like that. And when I came back to take the photo, I did a little bit of stamping with some Allie Edwards word stamps. I think it said right now and hello. And I stamped the date. And then I did a little bit of journaling underneath where the title is currently. That's not where the title is going to stay, but that was where I did the journaling. So I do have some close-ups at the end where you can see all of the neat little details. I really think that it shows the layout much better than what you see now. So I would encourage you to look at the details because it's just so cool. I love the way it came out. And be sure to check out Mari's video. I can't wait to see hers. And we look forward to doing another challenge for you in a couple of weeks. If you have any ideas, please let us know. We are always open for challenges. So thanks so much, guys. I hope you have a great day. I will see you soon. Bye.